Hey traders, it's Cousin Vinny coming to you on Sunday the 24th with a look ahead for the week of the 25th. I am on vacation and will continue to be so until Wednesday morning. So I'll be in and out of the room tomorrow and Tuesday. I'll be picking up the wife and kids at the airport on Tuesday. So tomorrow I'll probably be painting early in the morning, and I'll be in the room around 9:30 just to check some positions and set some trades up. Okay. What I've been looking for is the following with the SPY. I note that on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, on Monday we had that drop down. Okay, we formed that hammer and we moved higher. The volume wasn't that impressive, but it was significant enough, and we continued to move higher through the week and closed Friday. We had a little bit of a down move, and then we closed right about the same level as we did Thursday. So the debt fears, I think, are overblown, and I'm watching earnings. Okay, SPY, the S&P, I haven't seen as much as we have with on the NASDAQ, and you note that the NASDAQ is moving higher from this level. Okay, and breaking out, and it's mainly because a lot of these companies have reported already, and this level I've been pointing out before, we're breaking above. Okay, note the Bollinger Bands are moving higher, and if you adjust your free stock charts, one of the reasons why I like free stock charts is all these handles that you can mess around with to see extensions on your fibs, to see more of a chart, and to run some analysis like this ratio move here. Okay, on the NASDAQ, if we did the same here in the lows, where would that go? Okay, and you can see the levels. It would be the extension 618. Okay, so that's pretty notable. On the NASDAQ, we're already breaking out, so I'm looking at most of my trades on the NASDAQ traded funds. Okay, but anyway, that's why I like free stock charts. Plus you have the scrub bar down here at the bottom, which you can't see right now because it's off the screen. But anyway, the scrub bar here, you can scrub back and forth. Alright, you can go to a 5-year chart, zoom out, and do your analysis on a yearly or weekly or monthly, depending on what you want to look at. Okay, so anyway, that's why I like free stock charts. So that's the NASDAQ. Also been looking at the Russell, which isn't doing that great, but we are starting to form a little cup here. We had a cup here. This is a handle. We're starting to move higher. No, stochastics are starting to move up as well. So let's look at the dollar UUP. Note that the dollar has been running the opposite of equities. When the dollar moves down, equities tend to move higher. Okay, we had a bit of a drop out of this channel here, and note that the Bollinger Bands are starting to expand on the lower side, and the close here on Friday was in the lower range of the day. Okay, stochastics are continuing to move lower. Doesn't mean that things can't bounce here, because if you zoom out, you could run the idea past this that you have support in this area. Okay, I'm not aspiring to that, but it's something that you can look at. If you look at the US dollar, or let's look at the euro US dollar, this is what I'm watching. Okay, we're looking at this moving higher. There's a bit of a resistance area here, and we're just about ready to run into it. In this particular scenario, I'm looking for, because of the length of this channel here, I'm looking for this to break higher. It would be nice if stochastics was a little bit lower to give us more momentum moving higher, but we could turn and move back down, in which case the dollar would probably turn, as we just spoke about, and equities could turn over. I'm not looking for that to happen, but it's something to consider. Okay, carry trade. Stephen Place uses this a lot. DBV is the currency harvest fund, and it's basically the yen carry trade, or the carry trade in general. Okay, so you want to see this move higher, and stochastics does have room to move higher. You want to see this move higher for equities to also move higher. Okay, this is bullish for equities. Copper, we all know that copper is a leading indicator of market global bullishness. Okay, and this is moving higher. We're at trend lines, and we could move back lower and retest 20 and move higher. We are overbought on stochastics, but we are starting to get in some areas where price at volume, we're starting to move higher above that, and we are starting to look a little bit better in general. Okay, gold. I know I've been talking about gold trade in the room. I had some EGO and some GG last week, but I didn't mention anything in the room because I didn't want anybody chasing it. Okay, so you could look at this move. You could use Fibonacci's and look for this to break out, and look for a likely target is the 272 extension, and if we got beyond that, the 618 extension. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. If you look at this as a ratio trade, the previous move to the previous high, and you put that at the lows, okay, then you zoom out. Another reason why, again, I like free stock charts. There's your target. So I would be shooting for the 618 if you were trading gold. EGO, as I mentioned, traded that. EGO had a nice move during the week, but we pretty much moved sideways. So I got in on Monday and made a little bit, and I got out on Friday. It wasn't that lackluster of a trade, but GG, same thing. Got in on Monday, and I'm currently a little bit down, but I'll more than likely take this trade off during the week if we don't get a move higher. Okay, I'm looking at this resistance level here. Tractor Supply, got in on that. I got in on that on Friday. I was painting and heard Johnny mention it in his broadcast that he was getting in. He liked this chart, so I ran inside, put a limit order in, and looking at the 15-minute, you can see during the day we got a spike higher, and it was right at the early morning hours, first 15 or 20 minutes, I believe, or 30 minutes. Johnny mentioned it. I put a limit order in at the bid, and I got hit at 75 cents. So I also have the 65s and the 70s, and also bought some 75s. I know they're way out of the money, but they were cheap, and they had a decent range early in the morning and also the previous day. So I'm only looking for like 20-25 cents on the 75s. On the 65 and 70s, I would like to take those off in the near future. Note stochastics is moving lower. And we did hold the highs of the day and closed pretty much at the highs. Okay, so I'm looking for this to move a little bit higher. We have a low resistance here at the 20. And I'm looking for the Bollinger Bands to expand and this to get back up to the upper Bollinger Bands. Note that the stochastics was in a defined downtrend and it broke this trend line if you want to look at it from that respect, and I would like to see this move higher. Okay, so that's Tractor Supply. I'm also in Hansen still from this trade that we took at 294. Have shares in my IRA and also my wife's IRA. Note that we moved higher. We formed a flag here and we broke a little bit above that and consolidating still. I'm looking for this to move higher into the week. Note, however, that stochastics has been embedded for a while. I'm not that concerned about it, but it's a cheap stock, but I really like the news behind it. They're into the robotic surgeries related to catheter placement and so forth. So, same director involved with Intuitive Surgical is also in this particular company. So, I like the prospects. Note that the stock is traded up into the 40s. Back, what was that? 1031.07. So before we had that sell-off and the move lower. Note the volume at price, all this green here. We're starting to move into that range. Could be a little bit of resistance, but if we get above that, we could start to move a little bit higher and move in this direction, forming a big cup and handle. Okay. I'm also trading LNG. I like the prospects with this with respect to the news on HK and CHK. The whole idea that we're leaning towards more use of liquid natural gas domestically, and the fact that Cheniere Energy has a lot of infrastructure in place and that they're starting to build infrastructure for export of liquid natural gas, which we currently don't do. So that's a possibility in the future. Okay, so I'm looking at this ratio trade here that I've already had marked out. I'm looking at the Fibonacci extensions. We already hit the 272, and I'm looking for the 618 to be my target, which coincides with this ratio trade and these highs before at 1150.12. Okay, so that's LNG. I'm in the calls and I'm looking for those to move higher. Note the volume at price. We're currently above this band here, more green than red, and we're starting to move into this range here, which we might see a little resistance, but stochastics is overbought. We'll keep an eye on it. I also took Microsoft into earnings. We had a nice candle here. Looking for this to move higher and see what we can do. I note this big trend line that goes way out that we're currently moving above. I'd like to see this break out above this. Okay. Note again that NASDAQ is doing better than the S&P for the time being because a lot of these stocks have already started reporting earnings, and earnings are generally good. So that's it for me. I'm on vacation this week. I've been painting the house, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. However, for the time being, I am pretty light on my trades, so I will start to pick that pace up again during the middle of the week when I return. Okay, this is Cousin Vinny coming to you on Sunday the 24th. Remember to take profits, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.